Now welcome to another Let's Talk Some Star Wars, where I once again have an agree or disagree question or statement, and this time it is, Star Wars is dead. And right away getting to the results, and afterwards I will read and respond to some of the comments. But the results were 35% of people agreeing with the statement, but also saying it could be resurrected. There was then 15% who agreed and said, there's no coming back. 46% then said they disagree, but Star Wars is not in a good spot right now. And then there was 4% who said they disagree and Star Wars is doing just fine. And interestingly enough, the results were 50-50. People were split right down the middle on this one, whether or not they agree or disagree that Star Wars is dead. And as always, I have to bring up the fact that yes, these results may be somewhat biased or skewed based on my personal opinions, because people who watch my channel, go figure, they tend to agree with me on things, though this time it's 50-50, so I don't really know what it says either way. But anyway, all I'm saying is another channel, one that is perhaps very, very positive towards Star Wars, is likely going to get some different results here. Likely more people are going to say Star Wars is doing just fine and not dead. Either way, these are, again, interesting or even fascinating results when you consider that, yes, I am a Star Wars channel here on YouTube. That means pretty much my entire audience are Star Wars fans, and thus half of them think Star Wars is dead is kind of crazy. Now, I'm not saying they're wrong, I'm just saying that it's kind of sad that we are at a point in the franchise's history where 50% of fans, a large sampling of fans, there are 15,000 people who voted in this poll, but half of them think the franchise is dead, and 15% overall think it is never going to come back. And now to maybe begin to explain these results, it's time to move on to some comments, but not before once again, just gotta say thank you to everybody who votes, comments, or watches these or any of my videos. I appreciate those who take the time to write out some really well thought out comments. There were a ton of great comments on this video. 644 of you decided to leave a comment, and the vast majority are again well thought out and people taking their time, not just, oh, Disney is stupid and Star Wars is dead comments. It's actually people with something to say, and I appreciate you, again, taking the time to tell me so that I can make videos like these. Anyway, now actually getting to the comments, the top rated one on this poll came from the appropriately named The Disgruntled Imperial, who said, "We're just outnumbered, man. Too many people who will just go see mediocre slop and say it was pretty good. See the Lilo and Stitch remake and its box office as an example." Alright, so I haven't seen either version of Lilo and Stitch, so I can't comment too much on that, but I'm assuming that the new live-action version that recently came out wasn't very good, wasn't as good as the original animated version, and yet still made a ton of money at the box office and has plenty of people saying, oh yeah, it's pretty good, even though it really wasn't, or many people don't think it was. Which, yes, is something that happens in the Star Wars fandom quite a bit, where some fans will even say something along the lines of we should just be grateful to get Star Wars at all. And I know I've covered this topic before, so I won't go too much into it, but as a paying customer, they should be the ones who are grateful to get your business. You are giving them your hard-earned money for a product. Now, yes, it's entertainment, it is very subjective, don't get me wrong, but they are still producing Star Wars to make money off of you, and you have every right as someone who paid for it to be critical of it if you want to. Or, yeah, you can praise it too if you think it's good. But oftentimes we can look at something and say, yeah, even if you liked it, we can acknowledge this was maybe a little half-assed, that it could have and probably should have been better, and we can be disappointed, or maybe very disappointed, and have every right to say as much. I've used this example or analogy many times before, but if you go to a restaurant and they serve you really bad food, you don't go, well, I'm just grateful you served me anything, here's your money, and have a good day, I'll be back tomorrow. No, you're going to say this food was crap, I'm not grateful you served it to me, and I'm never coming here again unless there are some major changes. And it feels like in anything but entertainment, people are understanding when you are critical of bad service or bad products. No one is going to be angry or call you a hater if you, again, go to a restaurant and get bad food and call it as such. But with entertainment, with something like Star Wars, if you go and watch the new movie or show and you don't like it and you start complaining, you are called an ungrateful hater, which just isn't fair. Now, yes, there are people who go too far with their criticisms more than they need to, but not only do you have every right to complain, but it is kind of a, I don't want to say an obligation, but it's the right thing to do. Like, if you think this was bad and you really care about Star Wars and you want to see it get better, then yeah, you should say something. You're not ripping on it just to hate on it, you're ripping on it and telling people about it because you want them to do better. You want the franchise to succeed and to be good because you love it, and you also want to get quality for your money. I think one of the most frustrating things about being a Star Wars fan is this weird stigma around it that nobody hates Star Wars like Star Wars fans, that we just complain about everything because we like to complain, when in reality we just love our franchise and want it to be the best it can possibly be. We're not complaining because we enjoy complaining, we're complaining because we enjoy good Star Wars and we're not getting that. Alright, let's now move on to this one from the mighty Tropius, who said, Disney has no idea what they're doing, they'll never put someone in charge who does, and they'll never give up the IP. And I kind of agree with this, and I agree with the sentiment at the very least, because I think Disney knows exactly what they're doing, to be honest with you. They bought the franchise to make money off of it, and they're trying to do just that. They didn't buy the franchise because they have a deep, passionate love of Star Wars, because they wanted to take this thing from George Lucas and make sure that it lives on in that same way, and that it is this quality IP that is handled properly and is treated with reverence and respect, and never would they dare consider doing anything underhanded to just try to make a buck or two off of it. And to be clear, I'm not saying George Lucas never did anything just because he knew he could make some money off of it. The guy was the king of merchandising. Star Wars is the king of merchandising, after all, and that was long before Disney ever took over. Anyway, my point is simply, I don't think it is pure incompetence on the part of Disney. I think it is greed. I think most things can be attributed to greed, which is the dark side, right? Selfishness, always wanting more and more. That is the problem with Disney. They don't understand that if they actually tried to make Star Wars the best it could possibly be, which, yes, would take a lot of effort and would take a lot of money, and we've seen they can do it with Andor, but if they put in the effort, they would see the results. Because right now, like most businesses, it's all about short-term profits. It's all about how do you make the shareholders happy with the quarterly numbers. And to do that, they're trying to put in the minimal amount of money and effort to try to get maximum results, to make the numbers look big and to make the shareholders smile. Again, it's not about making Star Wars the best it could possibly be for the sake of Star Wars. It is about making as much money off of it for the sake of the shareholders and for the sake of them keeping their jobs. Alright, I'm rambling here, so let's move on to the next comment. And it's a related comment, and it comes to us from Tom Hanks, who said, yeah, it's cooked. You are assuming that Disney wants to save Star Wars. Their track record would indicate otherwise. And this is one of those comments I see quite often, actually, about people saying that Disney wants to sabotage Star Wars because I don't know why they would do that. Again, they have spent $4 billion to attain this franchise. If you go back and read articles from the time, they bought it because, and they bought Marvel as well, because they wanted to tap into the male audience more than Disney traditionally has. Disney has always, or had always, been thought of as the princess IP. They had girls covered, and they wanted to make money off of boys and men. So, as weird as it was to say that, that is why they bought Lucasfilm and Marvel. And oddly enough, you could argue they tried to cater as well to the female market instead of just catering to the male market that they were trying to get with these franchises. Now, I'm not saying there aren't female Marvel and Star Wars fans. I am married to a huge Marvel and Star Wars fan, so I know otherwise. But the majority is men, and it feels like maybe to them that they have kind of not catered to them as much as they should have. You can certainly disagree with that, but that's certainly how some feel, that you took a character like Luke Skywalker and replaced them with Rey Skywalker for no apparent reason other than we wanted a woman to now be the face of the franchise. Alright, and now we have a comment here from Austin Richardson, who said, as a senior in high school, I have a unique perspective on the fanbase. None of my friends have watched the new shows in years, even when I tell them that something like Andor or Skeleton Crew are great. In years past, it would have been unthinkable for my friends to not tune in to a new live-action Star Wars show. Nowadays, they don't even know or care that a new show released. Star Wars needs a big new mainline movie to bring back the casual fans. And I have certainly experienced something very similar. Now, everybody in my personal life, they know I am a huge Star Wars fan. They know I do YouTube and all of that. And once upon a time, years ago, I feel like now, they would ask me all sorts of questions. They were watching all the shows. They were into it. They were curious. They wanted to know more. They would ask me, what's the next show, or what is this one going to be about? They were very proactive about trying to learn more about Star Wars. Nowadays, they don't ask me anything. I don't know that any of my good friends or family members ever ask me about Star Wars. It is like 100% off their radar. Now, I will bring it up. I have certainly lectured everybody about Andor that I know and told them, hey, check out this show. It's different from all the other ones. You're really going to like this one. And none of them have checked it out. They just don't care anymore. They have lost that more casual, average viewer. And I don't know what gets them back. Perhaps a really good movie, as you suggest here. I think that has a better chance than a really good Disney Plus series, because I think if anything was going to bring people back and its quality should have been able to do that. But I did a video a couple days ago on the numbers, and it doesn't look like it's seen any real increase in viewership over season 1, as if it hasn't brought in a ton of new viewers over season 1. And it is done, in the grand scheme of things, it's done okay numbers wise or viewership wise, but it hasn't done anything phenomenal. There are no signs to indicate that this has somehow revived Star Wars, in other words. Anyway, I don't know what they can do, what kind of movie they can make to bring the casual audience back in droves. I don't think The Mandalorian and Grogu is going to do it. I think it's going to do fairly well, but I don't think it's going to do billions of dollars well like Star Wars movies did in the past or did with the sequel trilogy. Nor do I think anything else in the pipeline like Starfighter or the Rey movie or the Dawn of the Jedi movie. I don't think any of them are going to bring people back in droves. Star Wars needs to do something truly unique and special, yet that is still Star Wars. That doesn't go too far away from what it always is, and I don't know what that movie, again, I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what they can do to bring back the casual audience, but I do agree they need to capture them again, and the best way to do that would be something truly spectacular in a movie theater. Alright, and I'm going to do one more comment here, and this one comes to us from Joseph Hutton, who said, "For me, Star Wars will only be dead when we stop sharing our love for it. Even if every Star Wars project from today forward is garbage, I will never stop loving and talking about the original and prequel trilogies. I'll never stop listening to John Williams' amazing score. It seems like a lot of younger people today don't care about Star Wars, but I'm thrilled that my kids fell in love with the OT. My daughter wants to wear her hair like Princess Leia. My son loves playing Battlefront 2 from 2005. And The Force Unleashed. So Star Wars will live in our family for a long time." And there were a lot of comments that said something very similar to this, and I agree. You can't kill Star Wars. You can't kill people's love for it in their hearts and in their very soul. You can't kill the memories that they have of the better times, before the dark times, before Disney. Even though, yes, there is some good stuff here in the Disney era too, don't get me wrong. But again, I agree, you can't kill people's love for it, no matter what they do. And there were a lot of people saying, I would like to see Star Wars go public domain, which never going to happen, but it's a nice thought. And talking about how fan fictions and other things like that keep their love of Star Wars alive, that projects made by people who actually care and do it more for the love than for the profit is what they focus on. And again, I encourage people to do that. There are some fantastic fan fiction and just fan projects out there. I've said it before, and I'll say it again to maybe try to hold myself to it, but I do want to talk more about fan fiction and that sort of thing. I am working on one. I hope to have it up next week. No promises, but I'm hoping to have it up next week. I think I said that last week and the week before, so. But it should be out soon or started soon, and hopefully people enjoy it, and hopefully people enjoy other things being made by other passionate fans out there. Because even though in some ways, yes, Disney owns Star Wars, it's also, in a way, owned by us fans. It belongs to us in a way they can never truly take away. No matter what they do, no matter how they ruin the characters, they can't change my love for the original trilogy, or for the prequel trilogy, or for the EU, or some of the games I've played, or just the discussions I've had with fellow fans. They can't take any of that away. They can't kill Star Wars. They can only kill their version of Star Wars. Alright, and with that cheesy line, I'm going to say that's all I got for you this time. So now it is your turn. Take to the comments below. Tell me what you think. Is Star Wars dead? Do you agree or disagree? Or tell me what you think about what I or anyone else had to say in this video. Whatever you choose to do though, leave a comment below. Let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.